which would make our obligation roughly $125,000 or so minimum. If my numbers are correct, I believe my great Sue Scavone from Millennium had said that the minimum dollar amount was roughly $125,000. We can certainly apply for the grant and say, yes, we will commit to the funds, but that's something that this governing body has to be comfortable with. And if we eventually do get awarded the vessel and we accept the award, we have to fund the $125,000.
We can apply for the grant without any monies down, and if it comes back, then it'll be up to the council to decide whether or not.
Right.
So there's no. I just
It
want
doesn't come back when you're off the hook.
Well, I don't even know if it's going to come back with FEMA, but and if it doesn't, I mean
Sue Scavone from Millennium felt that
I don't even think
that there's a strong case that Edgewater can make for the vessel. So.
Well, we would be the main, we're on the water, close to the major city, and we certainly used our boats during 9/11. Whatever everybody's boat. I mean, there might be a strong chance we would get it.
Well, we have a boat now.
Yeah.
But let me ask, is it Homeland Security or?
This is going to be Homeland Security. We do have a boat now. Now, this boat is a bigger boat. I personally, until we find out the exact numbers, but we do have a boat now.
Yeah, we do.
I would feel as a council member, the only way I would vote to get the boat and have taxpayers pay $125, and that would be a decision if the grant comes back that we're accepting that opportunity to get it. The only way I would even consider it, instead of a burden for the taxpayers, is if the Bergen County Sheriff's Department or prosecutors would pay with the access of the boat and use it just in case.
Or unless there's some other funding we could apply for to use towards that $125,000. Have we asked our grants person if anything like that is?
I've had that conversation with her, and she doesn't feel that there's anything out there. So it would definitely be our obligation.
That's tough.
So basically a partnership with either Bergen County or perhaps even with Palisades State Park. They have 10 miles of waterfront park. That might be something that we might want to reach out to.
But even so, more money we're going to have to come up with.
No.
The money's going to be the 125.
Oh, okay.
There's going to be left that we'd have to come up with.
We'd have to know.
That's it.
But
I don't even know if we're going to
Go
get
with
the
the
grant. I don't even know if we're going to get the grant. I'm just saying if it comes back and says, here's an opportunity, you can get a $400,000 boat.
We would still have to come up with $125,000.
Yeah. As a councilman, the only way I would approve that is if if the money came from somewhere else. I wouldn't put it on the burden of the taxpayers. We have a boat.
Yeah, we do.
And I don't think it's necessary to get as big,
Now, interestingly, the fire chief has also spoken to me about an interest in our existing vessel by the town of Secaucus. And the North Hudson Regional Fire District, who has a larger vessel but has already placed an order for a replacement, would be interested in selling that vessel to us and Secaucus purchasing our existing vessel.
That would be.
We don't have figures at this time as far as what Secaucus would be willing to pay and what North Hudson would be willing to sell. I know the chief's been making phone calls. I've made some phone calls. I have spoken to people at both North Hudson and Secaucus trying to say, okay, well, if we can make this work, you know, what are the costs to all the towns? So the Sea Caucus and North Hudson really haven't come up with figures, so it's hard to say. So in the interim, this grant opportunity came up, so, you know, just be advised that they're working on some of these things. Next item, we received proposals for ferry service. The only bidder was New York Waterway. I need a review committee, Mayor, to review the proposals.
How many people?
I would say 3 to 5
I'll
would be.
sit on it. Anybody else willing to volunteer for that? Yeah.
I'm good.
And then if you could just give me some dates and times where,
Ted Brownie as well?
yeah,
She's a
you,
Q- She's a QPA, she's.
Yeah.
And Councilman Jordan, Monty and Jordan?
Yes.
Okay. And anybody?
you don't have to give me date and times now, but I'll pester you tomorrow. So if you can look at your calendars.
It's evenings, right?
Evening's fine, yeah, just just look at your calendars, let me know. If we can perhaps get it done this week and then perhaps make it order for the next meeting, so.
Okay.
I believe Barbara can report on the massage ordinance.
What are you trying to say, Greg? Don't hold back.
I wasn't here.
As you all know, we have some.
Yes.
Some legal, some
Some not.
maybe not. Okay, basically, we all know that we've had some problems. So our current massage parlor ordinance is very skimpy. So the police department and the health department, actually Phil, got very involved in this. We're going to, oh, let me rephrase that. He got very involved in revamping this so we could be more restrictive. And it was not, I can assure you, a hands-on. Yeah, that just means it's pretty good, right? What?
I said as long as there's a happy ending. Sorry.
I'm gonna stay away from that one. Okay, so basically, Phil had remembered that Premise had a pretty good massage ordinance. So we, I think, are pretty much going to repeal most of our current massage establishment ordinance and replace it with Paramus, which is, you know, gives a lot more, the police a lot more authority against the landlords of these establishments as well.
Yeah, the ordinance read.
Yeah, the way it is right now. So that will be on the agenda next week for introduction. Okay. I think that was it. And Lynn will maintain control. In Paramus, the borough clerk does it. In Edgewater, the health department, the health secretary does it. I spoke to Lynn about it. We're going to let Lynn keep it. So what we'll do is probably keep whomever is currently licensed, and then any newcomers for right now, because the licensing has already been done, they'll have to comply with the most recent, right, which will be the newly adopted one. So, and this will include fake background checks, fingerprint, and the whole gamut. So, I think you'll be happy with that one. You know, it gives the borough more strings to hoist it in. Anything else, Greg?
Yes, I have a few more items. So getting back to the RFPs, yeah, we'll have the committee review the ferry RFP. We'll move forward with amending the red light ordinance and ultimately authorizing an RFP for a vendor to provide provide the work on the application to the Department of Transportation. Also, the fire department requested the purchase of a new chief's vehicle. This is a four-wheel drive vehicle that can be capitalized. We do have funding in the ordinance for the rescue truck that came in under budget. And what I would need to do is amend the existing ordinance so we can go out to bid, or actually this can be purchased off a state contract. So.
Is this a necessary purchase?
It's a request by the fire department. Again, that's your prerogative whether or not you want to make that purchase. I do have to initiate some work as far as amending ordinances to make the purchase.
Could we not just put that money back in the general funds?
Not bond ordinance is capital money. It's a separate fund.
But we don't have to spend this if it's not a
No.
necessity.
I mean, before we do any work, if perhaps the liaison wants to discuss it further with the fire chief.
Kevin, can you be prepared for the next meeting to let us feel this opinion on it?
Whether it's, you know, if it's, in this time when the economy's so bad, if we could hold off, if we don't really need it, I mean, if it's falling apart, it's a necessity, that's one thing.
Could we use the money in the bond for any kind of necessity, work needed at the firehouse, up at Palisades?
Absolutely. What's required is a change of purpose. The existing ordinance specifically states for the purchase of a fire department rescue truck. The leftover funding, I believe, we're somewhere in the area of $100,000. You definitely can reallocate, reappropriate the purpose of that grant. So if you want to put it in the repair and renovation of a building, such as the firehouse.
Or ambulance?
Or ambulance, you certainly want communication equipment.
Which might be more needed at this moment than another.
Well, they've been asking about the Palisades firehouse for a long time.
I was up at the Palisades Firehouse, it's,
It's in bad need.
It needs it.
have you been upstairs? On the inside? I'm not.
Yeah, I saw the big, huge, gigantic TV. That one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or the one-
where the roof's leaking
When
and
you're talking
the
about
water's coming in.
Excuse me, when you're
on the
talking
exterior of
about
the building.
Palisades Firehouse, I don't know what one you're talking about.
Palisades Avenue.
Palisades
Oh,
Avenue,
okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Palisades
The
Avenue,
north
by the
end.
river, yeah, by the
Okay.
river pond.
So the roof is in bad shape.
Yes.
The roof is
And
definitely
there's
leaking.
water coming in
electrical
through it.
issues.
They need to be repointed as well,
But
the
that may
exterior
be a
brick.
better use for this money.
That's what I think eventually that's gonna have to be looked at.
Yeah.
Mayor, perhaps maybe because we have this discussion that perhaps maybe we should have the fire department perhaps come in at a future meeting to discuss it.
All right.
Now, another item that was previously distributed, and again, I'm just resurrecting it, so again, if it's something you want to pursue, this was in regard to the displacement of residents for emergency situations such as lack of heat or fire. We always provided through our emergency management budget the funding of housing, emergency housing for one night. But by creating an ordinance, it makes the property owner responsible to provide for the housing for a longer period of time. So again, I'm just resurrecting that for consideration. Also, at the next meeting, next Monday, again, we have the police chief's comments in regards to the 911 system. So what we'll do is have a resolution for the purchase of the 911 system equipment, and then handle those calls in-house. Unless you feel you want to pursue what the chief responded in his memo feels that there is a need for that equipment. So we can prepare a resolution for that purchase. Also, I had a meeting with the engineer last week. We went over some of the existing projects. Dredging, we're hoping to initiate that by June 1st. I tried to get an intersection improvement date, the start date for this intersection out here by Borough Hall. We don't have any firm dates yet. Project was staked out last fall, but the county put a hold on it until a little warmer weather. Whether or not they have approved the initiation of that, we just don't know. The school board's engineer, Boswell Engineering, is preparing a meets and bounds survey so the governing body can amend an ordinance for parking on Undercliff Avenue and Orchard. So that should be forthcoming within the next meeting or two.
Do you know what the amendments would be?
It's just a meets and bounds description to
Okay.
prohibit parking during the school day and to provide for a drop-off zone, similar to how EVG does it.
Just in certain areas, not
Right.
everywhere.
Right, not everywhere.
Yeah.
no.
There's gonna be a
Drop-off
zone from beginning of Orchard probably to the entrance for the school.
I provided to you some information on a rock that fell off the cliff on Hooks Lane, did some damage to a house. We had another issue last week in regard to the Horizon House tree maintenance program. They were in the process of felling a tree, and as they were pulling it up the cliff, it loosened the rock, fell down, came into a house in the Edgewater. John Condelmo was working with Fort Lee to ensure that doesn't happen. And I believe the home of property owner and Horizon House were working out their differences. We're working on some community development jobs. We have a nice balance left in community development of approximately $300,000 to continue several projects on Hilliard Avenue, Edgewater Place, Undercliff Avenue. So the engineer is going to narrow down the scope of the work. We'll present the proposal so we can move forward on those. Beverly Place, the retaining wall, is hopefully ready to go out to bid. So that bid should be out within the next few days. That retaining wall, if you remember, collapsed. So the work calls for the replacement of a new wall, the widening of the sidewalk. Veterans Field, hopefully will be advertised as well. That's all I have for that.
Greg, with regards to the field, what exactly is the holdup with that? All we have to do is, the only process that's left is going out, advertising?
The only process right now is to have the controller review of the project, which is mandatory based on the cost estimate, and then advertise. So
We have to wait for the controller,
yeah,
final review?
yeah, he'll have to review that, or I should say the office has to review that, and then once it gets approved, it can go out to bid.
How long ago was that sent to him?
I don't believe it's been sent yet.
Wait
So
for Neglia to send that?
Negley and Phil Bozier were working on that. Prime time, nursery school has again requested use of the pool. They normally pay us for the lifeguard services and the use, so we'll be working on that. And something I briefly touched base on a few work sessions ago,
Greg, can I ask a question
Yes.
about the pool? Now that the Borough Hall is closed up, is the bathroom facility available for those kids?
yeah, oh yeah,
Is
the
that-
bathroom will function, yep. Yep, bathroom will function. The ability to collect outstanding balances in the municipal court, and excuse me, I lost my train of thought there for a minute. Hiring of a collection agency for the municipal court and the ambulance billing. So we have significant amount of fines. I believe when I checked with the court, we were in excess of approximately $200,000 in outstanding fines.
And how old are they?
Several years old. And then the other is the outstanding fees for the ambulance billing. So what I would like to do is to perhaps move forward in preparing RFPs to solicit collection agencies to seek some of these monies. Now, some of the proposals that I have received from the vendors essentially call for a zero cost to the borough. So it's essentially they're guaranteeing 100% collection of the balance, and their fee is passed on to the individual party who owes us the money. And they have a fee structure involved. So I would like to initiate those programs, and perhaps for the next meeting or even the meeting after, just have a resolution authorizing the preparation of an RFP. So we go out to bid, get some proposals, and see what we can possibly do to recoup some of these balances.
Is that for the municipal court, a traffic violation,
Yes.
parking
Yeah.
violations?
Yes.
Any other department aside from
Right now, from what I'm aware of, it's municipal court and ambulances, which are the significant outstanding balances, which a lot of towns now are hiring these companies to go out and seek. And if it's no cost to the borough, you know, it's a win.
Greg, this may sound like a foolish question, but on the traffic and violations of parking and moving, licenses are being suspended, correct?
You know, I don't thoroughly understand how that process works through the municipal court. If there's an outstanding fine, there may be a license suspension and things of that nature. But again, I'm not too clear on how that works or what's being done in those situations. Essentially, the company that made a proposal to me takes the name and as much of the information as possible that's provided by the municipal court, and doesn't get involved at all with, you know, your license is currently suspended, you know, we'll help you restore your license, or insurance and registration matters. They simply say, you owe a balance to the Borough of Edgewater.
Right, but what I'm saying is that usually when you go ahead and you suspend that person's license, that tends to bring them in to pay off that fine, because they may have gotten caught again.
Right.
Or whatever the case. I mean, that's pretty much general practice.
But apparently that doesn't seem to work for everybody. So that's why
it's being done, it's just not working? It's being done, it's just not working?
Where am I going?
What are you talking
Oh, excuse me. I thought I heard somebody say get out of here.
about? No, I didn't say get out of here.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't say
Excuse me.
get out of
Excuse
here.
me.
Huh?
Apparently it doesn't work for everybody because we have this outstanding balance of back due fines, so.
So it's been, in other words, the licenses have already been suspended, they just still have not paid the fine, what you're
Right.
saying?
And so with the ambulance billing, it essentially works the same way. For whatever, what tends to happen now is the insurance companies are paying the individual who was provided the service, and they're not forwarding the payment to the borough. So what's happening now is these people say, oh, this is free money to me, I don't have to pay the borough. And so what these companies now, what the collection companies are doing is they'll pursue these individuals to say, you were given a payment, you need to now make that payment to the borough. So. Now, the other item of interest is the utility, and mostly this is concerning telephone. There are an enormous amount of charges that are assessed to the municipality that we just can't, you can't interpret these utility bills one way or the other, especially the phone bills. So companies have been reaching out to me with an interest to provide a free audit to us, and they will attempt to recoup some of these fees that we've paid over the last several years. And of course, that particular service comes with a fee. There is, you know, if they recoup $150, they keep a percentage of that, and the rest would be given to the borough. So,
Greg, how is the, have you had any additional discussions with Time Warner Cable after our meeting?
no, the individual who was handling our account sent me a note that she is no longer employed there, and she has given me the contact information for the individual that's going to take our account over. I just have yet to reach out to them.
I spoke to them.
Okay.
Because I know you were aware I didn't want to bother you, so I kind of reached out to the other gentleman that was there. I believe his name was Bill?
I can't remember.
Okay, well, the guy who I believe is one of the vice presidents, and we spoke, and they're still taking a look at the bill and trying to segregate what is a phone line, what is a T1 line, and so they could come back with some information. I think it would probably be a good idea to see if we could reschedule another meeting with them to find out what they've got by now, because by now they should have some information.
Yeah, the woman who I was dealing with had some questions, and I said, look, I said, go through the bill, make a notation next to the item, and because she wanted to come in and meet again, I said, that's just a waste of time. Just take the bill, make a note as to your question, and then I'll forward it to our current provider. That way, we can probably streamline the process, but I have to reach out to him, so. Next item, iPark reached out to us.